So we've got a question. Let me pick up these questions here for us. Let's have a look. So the first one comes from Bani Hosseini, who is running an online spirituality book club, Bani's book club, and they're wondering if you have any advice about how to move to a membership model. So to give some sort of background here from Bani, they've been offering the service free for over a year and they have a regular and loyal audience already. They've made their mind up about pricing, but they're quite nervous about the change and they're curious about how to announce it to the group. And more specifics, it's a seasonal structure where they read and discuss a book a season, 4 sessions, 90 minutes discussions plus over Zoom, plus 2 additional sessions. Covers 4 books per year, $99 per season. So, advice on moving into a membership model from a free service.
Okay, so the very first thing is they have the right idea. Manning, is it?
Bani.
Banning.
Bani,
So
Bani.
Benny has the right idea in terms of that it needs to be announced, that there needs to be some thought put into it. Yeah, if you've been charging and you give it away for free, hooray, it's really easy. But when you go from uh free to charging, then there's people can feel put out or so first thing is just you can expect some pushback. People are like, oh, it's just about the money, and this used to be a community, and this all this kind of stuff comes out. So just expect it. Don't be surprised when it comes, though you might be surprised who it comes from. There's that. Most people will be happy for you and thrilled whether they can continue. But the first thing is to craft an email or a video where you explain why the change. Where you really walk people through why suddenly charging? Why not just keep doing it for free? Was it not working? And of course it wasn't. So you just say, look, we did it for free for a long time, and here's what we've built. It's been wonderful. And for it to be sustainable moving forward, for us to keep doing this, we're realizing we need to charge something. So we're trying to keep it as modest as possible. Here's the price that we've come up with, etc. But giving the reason and rationale and letting them know how this is going to help you is important. Because of course they want to see you do well. They want to see you be sustained. They want the book club to continue. So if you can let them know, it was either we shut it down or we had to start charging something. And here's how we came up with that price, all of that. So you're going to send out an email about that. Something you can do, which I think is a nice touch, is you can say, for the first 3 months of the transition, you get it for free still. Anyone new will be charged the price. So it's the kind of just honoring the people who brought you to where you are, and then also asking them, just saying it would mean the world to us if you could help us find some new people. And then make it very easy for them to spread the word. Here's some cut and paste text. Here's some images. Here's all the what we call swipe copy. Make it really easy for them to spread the word. And also sometimes when we're in that kind of a transition, it might be that we are shifting our niche a bit. We might be honing or focusing, and we're letting go of certain things. We're doubling down on others. So it's good to let people know that in that transition, and also so makes it easier for them to find people. And when you're asking for people to spread the word, it's a good idea to give them ideas because they may have no ideas off the top of their head. So you can just give them a list. It's like maybe there's a Facebook group you're in where people might be interested. Maybe you have a friend, maybe you have a colleague or coworker. If you can give a list of a few things one of those might tweak them. And it's also worth doing some, depending on how many people Benny has in this group, to do a outreach to some of the core members, the ones who've been the stalwarts there since the beginning. And you can have a one-on-one conversation just asking for their help. Like, hey, where do we find more people? A 10, 15-minute Zoom call to get advice or guidance on where to reach more people with this. Just to enroll your current community in growing it, in spreading the word more actively, rather than just sort of hoping they talk about it. So one-on-one conversations, giving them swipe copy, giving them a launch event. Maybe there's a special event or two. If you're going to launch something, I think it's a good idea to think through launching in terms of special events on my website. There's a one of the under the live course recordings. There's one called The Art of the Slow Launch. And so that might be something to watch because it'll by the end of it, it's a 5-hour presentation. By the end of it, you'll have a whole checklist on how to do your launch. But the seed to plan is can you do some special events that might be compelling? Maybe there's an author of one of these books who might be willing to come in, or you just have a type of a session you do that you know is a winner, or whatever it is, something special you could do that your members, it would be easy for them to spread the word about because it would be something cool they could share with their friends. Their friends might actually want to join. So those are my thoughts on that.
So a couple of things. I've got a few additional questions, if it's okay with you. What are your thoughts on offering like deals for like founder members versus new members?
You mean so deals other than like 3 months for free, but like an ongoing financial deal?
And so the distinction there for you might be having the 3 months free or reduced or whatever for the founder members, not for all new members, but specifically for those who've been along so far.
Yeah, that would be my thought is, and so there's a few things you could do. You could say, so it's $100 per season for new people, but for people who've been around, it's only 50 or it's only 75. So you could give a reduced rate for a period of time. Like you'll get half off until 3 months or 6 months or the first year. Or you could say, because you're a founder, you get it to be free for 3 months and then you'll have to pay like everybody else. It's just a nice idea to give them a nod because they're the ones who got you there. And if you just switch it over and all of a sudden they're treated just like the public and the new people can take it on the nose, a bit.
Gotcha. Any thoughts for, actually you mentioned the swipe copy. Yeah, so you mentioned the swipe copy. And there's been some chatter in the Facebook group about people providing services, like looking for services for doing the branding and the artwork and things like this for things like your pink spoons and your swipe copy and stuff. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on ways to like tips and tricks to make it easy or do it cheap or easy for people who are just starting out and don't have the resources or have the time but not a great wealth of skills for creating stuff like this.
Well, first of all, I would say in the early days, you don't need the branding. I don't know if you need the fancy look and the logo. You just need something to get out there. So I would just say for everybody, you can lower your standards a little bit in the early days. And I know people who do very successfully with no fancy sales pages at all. They just have what they call an offer document in a Google Doc for their high-end programs, like $5,000, $10,000 program. It's just typed up in a Google Doc and that's it. So that's one, is I think we think the look of it needs to be so professional and slick. And there is an argument to be made against that from a marketing angle that sometimes if it's too slick, people don't trust it. And sometimes actually some of the modern design breaks up the text in such a way it's almost impossible to read. So there's thoughts on that. But in terms of the swipe copy, the thing to do is to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's sharing it, because you want to write it that they could literally just cut and paste. Like, hey, I'm a part of this book club, or I just heard about this book club, and I'm interested. I'm going to be checking it out. Here's what it's about. Anyone want to join me? You think about what would they post honestly as a real human being spreading the word about my thing, and you just try to be faithful to that. And then you let people know, hey, please edit as you see fit. The challenge with most swipe copy is I don't know who would talk in the way that these people write the swipe copy. It's the very hyped up sales marketing language. It's like, I would never say that. Now, of course, everybody has their own voice, but you can, if you just put yourself in the shoes of that person, was like, okay, they're a fan, but they're probably not a super fan. They like what we're up to. They want to spread the word. So you'd probably you might just understate it, and if they want to overstate it and go, mad with it, it's fine. But you can just say, like when I've done this for my touring workshops, like, hey, I followed Tad for years. I think he's got some really good stuff. It's just that. It's not like, oh my God, Tad Hargrave is the greatest. Let them say it if they want to say it. They'll edit it in if they're going to. But you don't need to be a fancy copywriter to do this. You just need to think, what, how can I save them the effort of having to sit down with a blank Facebook status thing and try to type this up? Give them something to begin with, and then they'll get going. Write it as you think they might write it, and then let them polish it from there. But I see so many people saying, oh, I can't even get going until I've got a logo and I've got my colors and I've got the branding and I've got my website perfectly copywritten. I just had a puttering session today with this fellow who was, he said, well, I guess I need my media kit if I'm going to be, reaching out to some of these hubs, with my bio and photo and the presentation write up for a signature workshop. And I said, it's great. I said, I would have that, but like, just, you don't need it. Just start, just reach out to people. You could send it in an email. You can be writing it, they reply to you and now you start writing it up. You don't need to, ideally, yes, you got it all designed and perfect and it's automated and everything's easy for everybody, but you just don't require it. And I think sometimes people put pressure on themselves like, oh, I need these things before I can even start. And that's not true.
Quick question for you then, Tal. I should have picked up on this earlier. I apologize. For anybody who's new to the marketing thing, what is swipe copy?
Swipe copy means it's somebody has written some sales copy, some written words about what you're selling or what they're selling that you can just swipe. You can steal it. You can cut and paste it and share it. So you don't have to sit and look at a blank page and try to craft something yourself, because it's frustrating. It's really frustrating to do that. You love this person, you love their business, you want to spread the word, and you sit down, you try to write about it, and it's just overwhelming. And so then a lot of people don't do it. So if you just give them something they can swipe and throw down, it's going to make it much more likely that they spread the word.
Reminds me of your point of view marketing pieces as well. The bits of that, and making the point of view easy that people can share around.
Yeah, that's so much of marketing, is making our work easy to share. The number of people I've come across where there's nothing to share. They've got no website, they got no social media, they got no, they don't have a book on Amazon I can direct people to. There's just no YouTubes. I can't. So we want to make it very easy that if somebody loves you and they wanted to introduce your friends to you, like, how would they do it? What would they have? What tools would they actually have to be able to do that? So if you're a local business, that can be a brochure, it can be a business card, it can be there's lots of physical tools you can give in marketing that people could pass on. Here's a tote bag, but it's got the website on it. But in the online world, it's either got to be probably video, audio, or something written, one of those three, that make it easy for people to share your work.
Right, Barney, I hope that gave you an answer to your question. I hope it helps. We went a bit far off track, but we came back in the end.